Hello, I'm Michael Finn, Holistic Exercise and Lifestyle Coach, and today we're going to continue developing the six-pack through the lower abdominal muscles and actually work on conditioning and getting your lower abdominal muscles to function properly. Alright, so we always have our rules with this. So number one rule, if you have pain at any point in time, you need to stop. Contact me, contact a CHEK practitioner, a physiotherapist, someone that specializes in rehabilitation and really spends a lot of time studying everything so that they know what they're doing. Alright, because if you have pain doing any of this, it's because something else isn't working properly that should be working properly. Okay, I have a handful of these videos all in the six-pack. They all need to be working together, and you need to be going through the levels. So basically the first level is, really easy, where I try to get people to start, and you need to slowly develop through those levels and build all the way up to where you can actually do the top level. The top level is just normal life. If you can't do the top level in all of these, well, then you're not really strong enough to just go through normal life of walking around and moving and that sort of thing. So you got to develop all of that up. I did a lot of these kind of exercises in my Swiss ball class, and it would take people a year or a year and a half to actually develop everything correctly, but doing it consistently and regularly, and that is the key. You have to have consistency. That's why so many people just come and see me every single week, because it's the only way they stay consistent and they progress, and I can progress them as soon as they're ready to move on and move forward. Alright, so lower abdominal muscles, okay? So the lower abdominal muscles are completely different than the upper abdominal muscles. I have a whole nother video for those. The lower abdominal muscles, their primary responsibility is to help stabilize our pelvis. So they will also help move our pelvis and flex our lumbar spine a little bit and stuff like that. But their primary thing is they need to stabilize the pelvis. So if you have ankle, foot, knee, hip problems, a lot of times it comes from a lack of lower abdominals. Okay? Now, if you've got a big tummy because your nutrition is poor, that's a whole nother issue. That's nutrition. Download my ebook off of my website, Learn How to Eat Real Food. Contact me about other things there, but you can't out-exercise poor nutrition. You have to eat properly. And your digestive system sits right behind your abdominal muscles. So if your digestive system's pissed because you're putting garbage in the system, there's no way you're going to get these muscles very healthy. Okay? Trust me, I tried it a lot in my 20s, and I ended up with arthritis at 26, which I fixed 20 years ago. So, all from just simply eating correctly. Okay? That's all it really takes. You've got to put the right stuff in. So, there's that. Alright, so, level one. Here we go. So we're going to lay all the way flat on the back, on the floor. Okay? I'll make this easier if you need to in a second. So I just want you laying all the way flat. There should be a little bit of an arch here underneath your lumbar spine, back behind your belly button. Okay? There should be a little arch there. There'll be a little arch here at your neck too. That's normal. It's the way it should be. During this first exercise, all I want you to do is I want you to learn how to engage your lower abdominal muscles. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a big breath in, and I want you to exhale it out, and I want you to draw your belly button in a little bit, and I want you to try to flatten your low back down into the floor a little bit by tipping your pelvis towards you. So like right now, my hip bones are pointing straight up towards the ceiling. As I exhale and I flatten down, my bones are now pointing a little bit more up towards my head, to where now they're pointing up to the corner of the ceiling above my head instead of straight up towards the ceiling, okay? Not a big movement. I just want you to feel that engagement. You will also typically feel your glutes engage, and that's perfectly fine. No muscle works in isolation. It doesn't. So we've got 600 muscles. They've all got to work together. So everything's got to kind of turn on. That's why I want you to draw your belly button in. I want you to try to flatten the low back down a little bit. And the glutes are going to engage a little bit too. Okay? Depending upon how much range of motion people have, the more you're going to move. I don't move a whole lot because my pelvis is very short. And my lumbar spine is also very short. so they don't move a whole lot. I'm really long through the thoracic spine, and my legs are really long, and my limbs are really long. Okay, so it's just the way that I particularly move. Okay, so all I want is big inhale, filling everything up. Big exhale, flatten that down a little bit. Big inhale, fill everything up. Big exhale, flatten that down a little bit. Now, that shouldn't be bringing your chest down there to get your low back down. That's upper abs. Upper abs need to stay somewhat relaxed. There's going to be some tension in them, because if there's not, then the lower abs have nothing to pull against on the other side. So they need to pull against the pelvis at the bottom, and the upper abs contract just a little bit so that the low abs have an anchor to pull on in the opposite direction. Okay? So, big inhale, big exhale. Okay? Practice about 10 of those. If that's too tough, you could bend your legs a little bit. So, and put a little bend in the knee. So now you got more motion at that pelvis. Okay? Because now we've taken the tension off of the hip flexors. But for a lot of people, I want you to fight that tension in the hip flexors to build some strength. Okay, we can use the tension in your hip flexors because most people have too much tension in their hip flexors from sitting all the time. And so we can use that to actually strengthen the low abs. So with this, I want you to inhale and exhale and flatten down. And so that makes it much easier. So if it was too tough and you couldn't get any movement when your legs were straight, bend your legs, practice this a little bit. And then once you have that down, then go back to the legs straight, okay? And do level 1, all right? Cool. So that's level 1. All right, so like I said in the beginning, our lower abdominal muscles are stabilizers of our pelvis and our lumbar spine. So they don't necessarily need to be moving a whole lot and flexing a whole lot. So with that, we need to teach them to stabilize things. So the way we're going to do that is now I want you to take your hands and I want you to overlap them up to each finger so that my middle finger is sitting on top at the base of my middle finger on the other side, on the other hand, okay? Not on the other side, but basically if you just put your hands flat and you go boom, just like this, okay? So that you got your hands overlapped. You're going to take those overlapped hands and you're going to place them directly behind your low back, right behind your belly button. So now they should fill up that gap that was there when your back was arched. Okay? So that fills up all that space. And I want that there because I want you to feel your spine. So put your legs all the way out straight. So now, once again, if this is too uncomfortable for your arms to do this, well, then we need to talk about stretching our upper body. So, and instead you can use like a towel or something like that. But I like people to get the feeling of what this feels like behind their low back. So now you can actually take that breath in, draw that belly button in, and engage those low abs by trying to tip that pelvis up. And you can feel the pressure increase on your fingers a little bit. Not a lot. You're not trying to kill your fingers. We're talking 1 pound, 2 pounds of pressure on your fingers. It should not hurt. Okay, it's not about that. So I just want you to have that sensation. So now what I want you to do is I want you to engage those low abs so that you have just 1 pound of pressure, additional pressure on your fingers. And you're going to hold that pressure. You're going to take a big inhale in and a big exhale out. Allowing the tummy to rise, but keeping the pressure on the fingers. And exhaling and continuing to keep the pressure on the fingers without changing the pressure on the fingers. This is how we keep the lower abdominal muscles engaged, and we use the diaphragm and even the transversus abdominis to move separately. All of our abdominal muscles can move independently. Just like that. Big inhale, big exhale. And if you start to lose pressure on your fingers, stop and rest. You want to get to the points where you can take 10 full breaths, nice and slow, all the way in, all the way out, while keeping a pound or two of pressure on your fingers while you're breathing the whole time, okay? Because your low abs need to be on all day long while you're standing, okay? So we need endurance strength, which means you need to learn how to hold that. So once we do that, that's level 2. Let's go to level 3. Level 3 for our low abs. Hands behind that low back once again. Put the pressure on your fingers. Now I want you to exhale as you bring one leg straight up towards the ceiling. And inhale as you lower that leg back down. Inhale as you stick the leg down. So you're going to exhale as you bring the other leg up. And inhale as you go back down. And I want you to keep that consistent pressure of 1 to 2 pounds of pressure on your fingers behind your low back as you lift one leg and lower it down, and then lift the other leg and lower it down. Make sure to not push with the other leg on the floor. It's the same thing with even on the level 2 exercise. Don't be pushing with your legs down into the floor. Use your lower abdominal muscles. Use them, okay? So you're going to exhale up, inhale down. Exhale up, inhale down. Just like that. That's walking, ladies and gentlemen. You should be able to walk, breathe, and use those lower abdominal muscles as stability. So those people that have low back pain when you stand a lot or walk a lot or things like that, that's because those lower abdominal muscles are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So we need to teach them how to do that, okay? Now, if that's a little bit tough, you can always make it easier by bending the legs and doing it with a shorter lever arm by having the legs a little bit shorter. Perfectly fine, okay? So that's level 3. Level 4. Now we're going to go, hands are still behind that low back. Now we're going to bring the legs up off the floor, bent at about 90 degrees. Okay? And we're going to inhale and we're going to take one leg down to the floor and exhale and bring it back up. We're going to inhale, take that leg down, the other leg down to the floor and exhale and bring it back up. Always keeping that 1 pound to 2 pounds of pressure on the fingers at all times. Big inhale down, big exhale back up. Big inhale down, big exhale back up. Big inhale down, big exhale back up. Nice and slow, staying under control. Now, key points to this. When you're lowering one leg down to the floor, you can't be pulling the other leg in towards you. So, because people will do this to counter it, so they'll start using their weight of their leg and their hip flexors to keep weight down on their fingers. You can't do that. So you have to be able to hold steady and not move the leg in. People will move that leg in as they take the other one down. Okay, so you've got to keep your leg steady. Okay. You can make this harder and progress it by, as you lower the leg down, straighten it all the way out. Get that leg straight. You can even hold the leg straight up towards the ceiling and go one leg down, one leg back up. Okay, one leg down, one leg back up. All right? So, that's level 4. Legs up, going down. Okay? Level 5 is both legs. Okay? So, we got to keep that pressure on the fingers. We have to inhale as we lower both legs down to the floor. Exhale as we come back up. Big inhale as we go both legs down to the floor. Exhale as we come back up. And this is going to get a little challenging. Now people are going to say, oh, my legs are really heavy. Or the ladies like to say, well, my lower body's heavier than my upper body. Yep. You have to have enough lower abdominal strength to manage the weight of your legs. I don't care if you're a bodybuilder that only works their legs. You have to have lower abdominal strength to manage the weight of your legs. Okay? My legs are really long, and it's very important. If I don't take care of all this, I'll have low back pain. So, like I did 20-something, 30 years ago. And it was because my lower abdominal muscles were shut off from eating crappy food. So we start with bent legs. We keep that pressure. We inhale down. We exhale back up. You can progress it by straightening the legs out, because eventually the standard of what you need to get to is you need to be able to inhale all the way down, keeping pressure on the fingers, and exhale, coming all the way back up with straight legs. Okay? That is normal lower abdominal strength with no movement in your spine and not losing pressure. Okay? At any point in time, you should be able to keep a pound or two of pressure on your fingers at all points as you're coming all the way down and as you're coming all the way back up. I can do it and talk at the same time. So that's the kind of stability that we actually need to generate. Okay? Then when we get to that, then we can do stuff standing up and doing other things for the lower abdominal muscles. But you need to be able to generate that kind of strength in your lower abdominal muscles doing all those. Okay? So quick recap. Level 1 was just hanging out here and trying to tip your pelvis. Okay? Practicing that, tipping the pelvis. Big exhale as you flatten everything down. Okay? Level 2 was the hands behind the back and holding the pressure on the fingers and raising one leg, other leg. Okay? Keeping pressure on the fingers. Exhaling as you go up, inhaling as you go down. Level 3 was both legs up off the floor, but inhaling as you take one leg down, exhaling as you take coming back up. Inhaling as you take the other leg down, exhaling as you come back up. Okay? That was level 3. Level 4 is, that was level 4. Coming all with both legs, all the way down and all the way back up. Okay? Big inhale all the way down, big exhale all the way up. Okay? And then working all the way up to the point of straight legs, big inhale all the way down, big exhale all the way up. Okay? That's your progression, real quick as a little recap. So, practice, practice, practice. Once you can do about 10 repetitions of the exercise you're working on, start playing around with the next level a little bit. Do a couple of repetitions of the new level, then back down to the level you're good at. Okay? And just keep kind of developing up and down a little bit until you get really good and you can actually lower those straight legs all the way down to the floor, all the way back up, maintaining pressure on your hands at all points of time. That's how we work the lower abdominal muscles. Alright, so if you're still watching, this is great. Subscribe, ring the little bell so you get the notifications. You can reach me on Instagram at MichaelFinn490. You can DM me there and I will respond and answer any questions you have. All that kind of good stuff. You can also email me, contact me. Remember the rule about pain, contact somebody that can actually really help. Okay? Whether it's me or another Czech practitioner or a physiotherapist or someone that specializes in rehab. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. And everybody have a happy and healthy day, working your lower abdominal muscles and building that six-pack.